This is Lansdowne Road, the voice of the fans, and this is the League of Ireland review, match day 27. David Dunn here, joined by Conor McAvoy, and as always, if you haven't already, please do subscribe to the YouTube channel. Please head over to a Facebook, Instagram, and a Twitter account. Please like this video, and head over to lansdowneroad.ie, that is lansdowneroad.ie, for opinion, and also an audio version of this podcast, if that's what you want. And if you haven't already, folks, if you really want to support the page, you can also support us on Raw Plus. That is a YouTube service that we're offering to you for $4.99. If you want to get a little bit of extra Raw content, stuff like this, Mick McCarthy's 96-97, a visual and audio experience from Martin and myself, or if you want to get a bit of State of Play, which is a world football podcast that we do. And if you join us before August 31st, midnight, August 31st, you go into a draw for a Roma jersey. So there you go. I mean, come on. What are you waiting for? $4.99. Wherever you are, whatever country you are in, whatever currency you use over there, that's how much you will pay. So get on board with it. I'll send Conor after you. Conor, how are you doing? It's League of Ireland. Bit of a disappointing night last night.
Yeah, I'm a bit well, gutted was the word last night. I'm not gutted anymore. Slept it off, but I'm just still disappointed over what happened last night at Tolka Park. But other than that, it was a decent evening from just an Irish point of view across. A lot of lads playing abroad, and not with League of Ireland, or actually a lot of the ex-League of Ireland players were doing very well, which you'd say last night. But yeah, still a bit disappointed over what Shels produced last night, because it just wasn't up to Shels' levels, really.
No, it was quite disappointing. Sorry, by the way, folks, for the background. I'm still in Ireland. Bit of renovation work going on here, so I will be back in London in the next 10 or so days. Yeah, no, it was very disappointing, and we especially after the first result, winning 2-1 over there, and then to lose 3-1 at home. There we are. There, like, it's just really, really disappointing. And we got back in the tie, didn't they? 2-0 down, 2 Worley goals. Got a penalty, and then straight away they concede, and that is it. So they're out of the Europa League, Conor, and they go into the Conference League, where they can play. Is it Linfield or
Vikingur from Faroe Islands?
Okay, so not too bad, is it really?
No, it's ideal, isn't it? But it's 1-0 to Vikingur after the first leg, which was in Faroe Islands. Obviously, they're in Windsor Park on Thursday, which I did say actually stats-wise, Linfield had like 70% possession in the first leg. So I'd expect Linfield to really go into Thursday expecting themselves to overturn the lead. But it's European football, you don't know what's going to happen. And it would kind of be funny, wouldn't it, if Linfield bottled the tie at Windsor Park. So probably Shels fans would get a nice trip to the Faroe Islands rather than travelling up north again. Which isn't, I know it's a money saver, because if you beat Linfield, and that's the thing is, it can be an easy one to slip up on. Once you beat them once, you might end up losing them second time. But it's the thing of, if you get that trip up to Belfast again, that's 2 trips that you're saving that expense of going abroad, and you're saving that for the group stage if to qualify.
Yeah, I mean, like, it's 2.5 hours on a train, like 2 hours 20, 2 hours 15 on a train up to Belfast from Conley Station. So yeah, and the old Enterprise, it's not a trip I've done many times myself, actually. It's a very nice trip, especially when you go first class, Conor. Do you ever go first class on a train?
No, I thought not. No, I've sat in first class, which is not paid for. But I've never got a train. I've never got a train in Ireland from like that.
Wow.
We don't
you know
have
what
a
you
train
get
in Monaghan.
first? Do you know what you get for? You don't have trains in Monaghan. Do you know what you get first class? Well, not my last experience. You get a glass of orange juice. That's it. And then you pay more for food, but you get it on a plate as opposed to same sandwich, but on a plate instead of a sandwich wrapper. So away from trains, Conor, what did you think of the match last night?
It was just, as we were saying earlier, it was just a bit gutting. Like, it was weird, because I don't think Shels, when you had looked at that match last night, I don't think you would have said, oh, Shels were by far the worst team, even though they didn't play well. Rekia were decent. They scored, obviously, 2 unbelievable goals to go 2-0 up. The first one was absolutely out of this world. And then the second was a it was a good finish. It was a very good finish, but Shels kind of stood off him and let him have that opportunity that he needed. You can't hear a dog barking, can you?
We all can, Conor, yeah.
Oh, I don't know who's at the house, but yeah, that dog's gonna keep barking. But anyway,
That's the
as long
Shels
as
fans.
Shels fans responded to last night, but yeah, it was just it's just disappointing, wasn't it? Like they got the goal from the penalty. It was a terrible penalty from Meepo, but thank God the goalkeeping was worse, so we missed that opportunity. To what that imagine that would have been a real. I think that would have been even more of a killer if Meepo had missed that penalty and the tie as such wouldn't have in the balance, because that would have probably ruined Meepo's confidence if that didn't go in. And then it looked
He
like
missed.
even I know
Sorry.
he missed that. Yeah, he missed that chance before. But the thing is, if they had all the momentum after the penalty. It was only a couple of minutes left, but it was all real on top. And then it started getting. It was what really annoyed me was in that injury time. Ellis Chapman thought that he could suddenly start playing it around the box in the 98th minute, which led to the goal because he tried to pass it back to simply, he could have played it forward, but he said, oh no, I'll just pass it backwards to Sam Bone. And the Sam Bone kind of had to hook his left leg around and then went back to Rekia, and that was what led to the goal. And people are blaming the defendant standing off for the goal, but I blame it from trying to pass it about around the edge of the box when there was no need to trying to be too smart with it. And yeah, it was just disappointing, Dave. It was. Shels will be got. I think they'll be got. That's the only problem now. Is how will they respond mentally to a result like that? The way they lost the tie, the way they didn't like, the way they scored two absolute worldies, and even the third goal was a lovely finish, but it was like it was probably ways that could have been preventable. Just disappointing, really, is probably the word you just say with them, because they are capable of a lot more than what they produced last night, because they didn't really show what they did best. And the thing is, they didn't show that much, and they were still in the tie, and they could have said we should have at least gone to extra time.
Yeah, no, very disappointed. But look, they go into the Conference League. They're going to, David Healy was at the game last night, wasn't he, with Heimer and Bertie Hearn, apparently, in the box. But, they've another bite at it, really, which is fantastic for them. I mean, the money. The money must be fantastic. How much money have they made so far?
I don't know, like 1 billion. So over a million anyway. I'm not aware of the official deal, but yeah, it is good money.
Yeah, no, it's brilliant. Like, it's brilliant for them. Like, that is huge for a League of Ireland club, even if it is the champions. Of course, we got more League of Ireland teams in action, haven't we? We got one tonight, is it?
No, both tomorrow.
Both tomorrow. Sorry. What day? It's Wednesday today, isn't it? Jesus. This is what happens when you're out of when you've been upsurfed from your routine for 3 weeks. But yeah, so tomorrow we got Pats and we have Shamrock Rovers in action. So give us a little bit about that, Conor.
Pats, I think they're going to come back against Besiktas. It's going to be the greatest victory in League of Ireland European history. But actually, because you actually haven't really spoke about it last week, you were at Tala for the Pats Besiktas game.
I was.
Yeah, it was. How did you find your experience at Tala for the European tie?
Yeah, look, I mean, it Pats were woeful, absolutely dreadful in the first leg. Yeah, I was there with my good friend David Brennan. He, I'm sure you Pats fans will know that he's a very good friend of mine. Nice little community there. And I used to go to a lot of Pats games when I lived over here. But back to the game, yeah, I thought they were 3-0 down at half time. Sorry, they were 4-0 down at half time. But he's 4-0 down at half time.
Yeah, because Tammy Abraham scored a hat trick, didn't he? And then Joy Mario got the first one, didn't he?
Yeah, so they were 4-0 down at half time. Gifted. Absolutely gifted. Some really poor defending. You could just see it was a team bereft of confidence. There was one there in the second half with a guy the defender, I can't think of his name, and he just stalled. He just don't know what to do, and lad just came, I'll have that, thank you very much. But saying that, Pats are finding a lot of joy down the left wing. It's just a quality. I kept saying it, like, just play it down the left, down our left, play it down the left, because that's where Besiktas were really, really vulnerable. And whenever they got the ball down the left to get into the box, they caused some problems. And that's the same side that they scored the first goal from. as well. Well, they scored their only goal from, unfortunately. But even at 3-0 down, they could have made it 3-1. He had the ball in the back of the net, and then it was disallowed from VAR. Would have been allowed in a League of Ireland game. And then of course he made it 4-1, and could have been 4-2 as well. That they had a little bit of joy. There was a great save. I think it was from Mason Amelia, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, it was a great save. But I just thought they were very poorly set up. I think he went with 4-5-1, and then he changed it to 5-4-1 in the second half. But like, just trying to play the ball around, when you're playing a team like Besiktas, that's a proper side with some proper players in it. You just need to keep it tight. Don't gift them anything. But yet again, like, I think they went in there thinking that they could pass it around and outplay Besiktas, and that's not how you do it. And they're out of it, unfortunately, and hopefully get a bit of pride, get a decent result in Turkey. But it was just very disappointing.
I'd say I kind of was thinking back to the game last year in Tala against Istanbul Başakşehir, where they went out and they absolutely battered Başakşehir for the first 20 minutes, and they should have been like 2-3-0 up, and they didn't get the goal in the end. The game finished 0-0. But like, he probably thought they could do a similar job to them, but they just never got going. Yeah. The Pats team, I know Pats were in a rut last season. They're in a rut this season, but you could see the improvement last season. At one stage, you could see them picking up. You could see them improving. Now, you don't even really see them improving. I know they got a couple of good results in Europe. They got past 2 ties, which is always good, but they didn't really kick on as such. They didn't get to the levels anywhere near what they're at last year. I think Kenny was a bit naive in his setup. I know it is always hard when you're in Europe. It's like, you're always going to be in two minds of what to do. And I think maybe if he would have went with, I don't know whether he went with his head or his heart, whatever he should have went with, that he started the second half with, he should have started the game with, because they were so much better in the second half. I do think Besiktas started as well as a team probably could. That first half performance from them, I know Pats were poor, but Besiktas were very good. Like, they did play some unbelievable liquid football that would get you off your seat, but he was just against Pats, and Tammy Abraham looked like the greatest striker of all time on the pitch the other night. And the thing is, when you're lads like Tammy Abraham on the pitch, and João Mario, and it's ridiculous and Rafa Silva, like things like that, players like that, they're all experienced players that played years and years in the Champions League and played lots of international football. So they won't expect to win the tie, but I do think they're a lot capable, giving a lot better kind of themselves. It was good to see Mason Amelia didn't find the step up challenging at all. Like, I know he missed that chance to keep a really good save, but you kind of said that was on him, and we'll say about how well he responded the weekend to it. But I liked how well he stepped up, and obviously Ollie was praising him. But I know the second leg this week, hopefully it just doesn't turn into them losing 4 or 5-0. Hopefully they can put up some sort of a fight. But
respectable.
I think it's to win a tie in Europe. I think you get extra money, so the players will have money on the line to play for. So hopefully don't just give up.
Yeah, well. And then, of course, tomorrow night as well, Shamrock Rovers are home to Balkany. They're 1-0 down from previous week, a very poor performance there. But this week, you kind of fancy them to turn it around. You kind of fancy them to get the 2 goals at home. I think it was a bit of a kick up the arse from last week. No, I didn't see it. I was at Pat's.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, because I was watching both. Look, the beauty of watching them from home is you can have one on the TV, one on the laptop, and I had that one on the laptop, and it just wasn't. Actually, what I had was Pats on the TV and Rovers on the laptop. Usually you'd put the one, the more important one on the TV. And once we had the 3-0, I swapped it around. So I had the TV view of Rovers, but the Rovers game was one of the worst games I've watched in a long time. I've never seen Rovers play that bad. They were absolutely dreadful. I know the stats. If you look at the stats, people were saying did 0 shots in the first half. That was wrong. I don't know who was doing the stats for, because the keeper made an unbelievable save from Honahan. So I don't know where that come out of. But really, really poor with from Rovers. I haven't seen that long in a while. I know they were missing key players, and it looks like, I think Dan McDonald said this morning that Jack Byrne has fallen out with Bradley, and Bradley's going to try and bring the relationship back together a bit, or I don't know what way, but he said after the game this week, I think, is when he'll try to bring a relationship back together between the two of them. So yeah, that's which is mad to think that they've fallen out after all the years they've had together. But sure, hopefully because they have a lot of good years, they will start to. It's only a little instance, but yeah, they're missing him. They're missing Graham Burke. They're gonna have. It's gonna be a real challenge this Thursday. It's not gonna be easy at all. Well, Canny will be full of confidence. They actually look decent the other night. That player front, Adetunji, I think you call him. He was really, really good. Big Nigerian striker, fast, strong, really good on the ball. So he's a real threat, and there'll be a real challenge on the counter attack in particular. And like they've brought that lead to Palace, so it's Rovers chasing the game. Hopefully, Rovers get an early goal and they kick on. But it's not going to be easy whatsoever. And like, wouldn't be surprised because they're actually Balkany are a decent side. But I do have faith in Rovers because of the talent they have that they can go and turn it around and get to the playoff round.
I reckon they'll do it. Just came to my attention this. You know who was at bit before your time? Do you know who was at the Shelbourne game last night as a referee observer?
Bertie O'Hearn.
No, Martin Hansen. Do you know who Martin Hansen is?
The only Hansen I know is Alan Hansen.
Well, so you're going to say handsome, clearly me. No, it's Martin Hansen. It was the referee for the Ireland game in France, the Thierry Henry game.
Oh, yeah. He's always there. Actually, I remember someone saying last year he's always at the Ireland ones. But yeah, Heimer was there last night. Bertie O'Hearn was there last night.
So I said that.
Did you?
I did say it earlier. Wakey. Yeah, no. No. Martin Hansen. By the way, I never blamed him for the Henry handball. It was his linesman that let him down. The linesman, the two offsides and the handball. That was absolutely down to the line. Well, handball, don't know. But anyway, just thought I'd bring that up. There you go. Right, well, that's the European action anyway. Best of luck to both sides. Pats, obviously, they're out. Unless we have a comeback of epic proportion. Unless they get like an early 2-0 lead, Conor. I think they're as good as gone. And the Shamrock Rovers, if they get through that, they go to one final round, and then it's the group stage or the league stage of the Conference League, correct?
Yep.
And we could have two. We could have two teams.
Yeah, it's the Rovers if they win against Santa Clara from Portugal, which will be obviously another tough tie. Which will be tougher, but it's not. It's not any. I wouldn't say it's any more difficult than the likes of playing a Carabag, if you get me, or playing. What's going on in my head? Who did Rovers play or Pat Shels play last night?
Hold on.
Oh, Rekia. I can't believe that's gone out of bed. It's just, but yeah,
some football. I know.
It's too much football at the moment. But yeah, I don't think it'll be any more difficult. It's still be obviously you're not going to be favourites in whatever tie, but it's going to be that sort of difficult.
Yeah,
level.
Well, let's move on.
Yeah, go on.
Yeah, let's move on to the old domestic stuff here. Just go through the scorelines and we'll talk a little bit about each game. And we'll get out of here. Drogheda United 0-0 at home to Waterford. Derry City at home to Cork City at the Brandywell. Shelbourne 2-2 draw with Bohemians. Galway United at home drawing 0-0 with champions elect Shamrock Rovers. And of course St. Pat's battering Sligo on Sunday 3-0. Well, I'll tell you what, Conor, we were at the Carlisle grounds, yourself, myself, and James, who obviously writes for the pod. He's a good man. But, I think we're kind of lucky there, actually, because we seem to miss two incredibly boring games. Drogheda United at home to Waterford. I mean, disappointing for them. Drogheda, they started so well, even though, I thought they'd get relegated. But, undefeated in the last 3 games. And Waterford, a little bit down the table from them as well. So, I mean, I say a little bit, like the three places below them. But yeah, disappointing for Drogheda.
Yeah, that's all we can really say. It's disappointing for Drogheda not to win at home, but it's kind of sort of game. I think everyone kind of targets with Drogheda for points. So I think even though they're doing so well, I think every team, no one really fears them. It's just their style of play is really hard to play against, and people struggle to break them down. But yeah, Drogheda would have, because of just that top 4 race, and they need to start picking up 3 points again rather than getting draws. So yeah, I think Drogheda will be will be okay with it. Waterford would be happy just to keep picking up points, and trying to slowly get away from the bottom two places, so they're not dragged into the relegation playoff. But yeah, it was not the worst result for the two of them.
Right. And of course, next up there is Derry City at home to Cork City. That's a huge. I mean, Derry City will be absolutely fuming over that. You have a chance, especially with the points dropped by Shamrock Rovers. Great opportunity there to close the gap, and they've completely messed it up against the worst team in the league by a far at home. Derry City be absolutely devastated.
Yeah. Are Cork going to stay up, are they, Dave? Are they going to stay up? That's 4 points in the last two games. If they can keep that momentum of getting 4 points in every two games, they'll stay up.
You don't know.
But, yeah, if they continue that momentum, they would. But it's actually a really, really good result for Cork going away to the Brandywell and getting a point, because it would be a game that people would think, oh, Derry will just battle them easily. And
I mean, they did batter them
yeah.
with the shots and everything in the possession, but Jesus, they just couldn't break them down.
Yeah, in terms of actually scoring, it's probably a really good result for Cork, and it'll give them a lot of confidence that they can go away to grounds like the Brandywell and pick up points, even though you're going to have to play a lot of the game without any ball. You can still do a lot of damage defensively and cause a lot of frustration and embrace being that underdog as such. But yeah, terrible result for Derry. Derry are just ruled themselves out of title race weeks ago, but they've made it even worse now. They're just nowhere to be seen now in the title race, which is really disappointing. They are, but I'd say they've bottled the title race. So they're not going to win the title, but they've bottled being in the title race.
Yeah. Bows at, of course, Bows were away to Shelbourne. I tried to get tickets for that, actually. You tried to get me tickets as well. Sold out. I know, it was on my birthday. Well, do you know what? It was my own, because it was my birthday, and of course, busy doing renovation work. My head's all over the shop with that, and I just thought, you know what? That could be sold out. And I went online and I thought, it's sold out. So it was my own fault, really. I should have got my tickets earlier. But there you go. But 2-2 draw there. Some absolutely comical. Let's just get into the thing of this. I was just watching highlights there. Of course, Daniel Kelly gave the champions an early lead, and then Conor Parsons at 6. Was that the one where the goalkeeper absolutely messed it up, or was that the John Martin one? I think it was the John Martin one, wasn't it?
John Martin one.
Yeah. And then Dawson Devoy gave him a lead, and then John Martin in the last minute. So some absolute comical thing there. But that is a huge I mean, you look at it on paper, you think, do you know what, that's not really such a bad to draw 2-2 away to champions. But when the champions have been so poor this season domestically, really, really bad, and that was another great opportunity for Bows to close the gap within 8 points. And like Derry City, Shamrock Rovers dropped points, and Bows and Derry have all dropped points. So a great weekend there for Shamrock Rovers. But yeah, I mean, looked like a cracking game of football.
Oh, it was unreal. Yeah, it was really, really, really good game of football. It was one of the games of the season so far. Real end-to-end, yellow cards flying about, tackles flying about, probably the proper derby feel to it. And Tolka erupted when John Martin got that late equaliser. Bows will probably be gutted, even though it was really an even game and a draw was fair result. Bows will be gutted to see that late equaliser. And Douglas James Taylor had a late 1-on-1 to win the game at the end for Bows and missed that. Spiel made a good save, who actually has been playing really well for Shels since signing. But yeah, really enjoyable game to watch. One of the games this season so far. Hopefully, we'll see more games like this between now and the end of the season. But yeah, hopefully, I do think Shels will be more happy with the point, just considering the position they're in, being 2-1 down.
Yeah, absolutely. Slowly crawling up the table, Shelbourne. And then, of course, the same night, the same evening, Shamrock Rovers. Very poor performance from them, actually. Very blunt performance from them. 0-0 draw over in Galway, but they don't really care. They were probably resting their players, were they, for the game the game tomorrow night?
When they rest players, they still have probably the strongest 11 in the league. So It's not that much stress with Rovers, but yeah, Rovers actually were quite poor again. Galway were really good.
Mm.
Ed McGinty made one of the saves of the season from Darragh McGuinness. It was kind of a weird. It was kind of a weird game. There wasn't really much happening. It wasn't a great watch. I had more of eye on the Shels and Bows game because it was just to see similar times. But it wasn't a good game of football at all, really. You'd expect a lot more from Rovers. Galway had chances to probably win the game more than Rovers did. But the Rovers probably won't care. They got their point. I know they could say, oh, we would have got an extra 2 points and extended the lead at the top of the table even further, but they would be happy probably with Derry dropping points and Bows dropping points. Thing is, the league's won already, sadly. But yeah, hopefully things pick up for Galway. Probably a decent point for Galway because anytime you get a point against a team as good as Shamrock Rovers, you can take it and move.
Yeah. And the final game of the weekend was Pat's battering Sligo Rovers with, as you described, one of the worst red cards you've ever seen for James McLean's brother, Patrick McLean. But a great win for Pats, nonetheless, and a great win for Cork City also.
Yeah, the worst red card I've ever seen. Game ruined. The referee in the performance was a disgrace, being honest with you. I hate saying it, but it was an embarrassment what that decision that was given over it. Like, oh my God, it just ruined a good game of football. Pats may have gone on and won the game anyway, but yeah, that red card was one of the worst things I've ever seen. Like, what was that? Like, how can you say that? Like, no one. Like, I see a couple of people try and back it up, but yeah, really, 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 really poor. I know you probably agree with me, do you?
Yes. Yeah, no, it was very bad. But I mean, like it's the level of league, isn't it? I mean, every season you always hear how poor the refereeing is in this country, and I can actually say that because I'm in this country at the moment. But you know, you always hear how poor the refereeing is in this country, but it's a standard. It's a standard where we're at with the league. You know, it's still growing, and they don't have VAR. You know, it's not as if they can they can overturn these decisions when you make a mistake as well. So there's no real help for the referees either. You know, so it's just kind of where we're at the moment. It's just part and parcel of the League of Ireland, unfortunately, and I don't see it improving until facilities and money and all that improve in the league. So and standards, it's just one of those. But it worked.
I just think it's a disgrace. It's really poor.
It
Like,
is.
it's not even that's not even funding. It's not. It's just simply really, really poor refereeing.
Well, it's training. Well, it is funny because it's training.
It's that training just to make a mistake like that, like constantly. VAR needs to be brought in. The VAR in the Welsh League now, it's somewhere. I don't know if there's a way you get VAR in that. It's just someone sitting in Abbottstown just on a computer watching a back and is able to give a bit of advice to the referee through a laptop.
Yeah, but it's 10, like it's 5 people. You know, it depends on the night as well. I don't know. I mean, that's more money. That's funding as well. And yeah, I think the referees would be, especially look at the standard. It's not the Premier League, and look at the money that's in the Premier League, and look at the mistakes that the referees make. Look at the mistakes that VAR make in the Premier League. Do you know what I mean? Like, money doesn't solve everything either. It's just standards. Everything's standards, and it's just kind of where we're at the moment in the League of Ireland. So you're going to have it. Yeah. Look, if you have away grounds where you have a wall where the women won't even use the toilets at certain away grounds, you know, in terms of facilities, you're not going to get top-notch refereeing every week. You know, it's part and parcel, and that's where the league's at right now, unfortunately, and hopefully.
The thing is, it's not even average refereeing at the moment. It's really, really the standards really on the floor. Yeah. Like, that's the problem. It's like mistakes are acceptable, but when it's happening every single week, multiple times a week, it's just not good enough. But
no, I agree.
Yeah, but it was good enough for Pats though, yeah, wasn't it? It was. I know
for Pats.
Yeah, some teams, a lot of teams struggle when they go against 10 men, but Mason Melia scored a lovely header, and then the second goal was unreal. The ball roller and the keeper was different gravy and showing his real class. Good result for Pats in the end, but I think they're probably lucky that they got to play against 10 men in the second half. Sligo Rovers couldn't get that goal in the second half. Like, I don't really remember Owen Elding touching the ball really in the second half, because Pats just completely just dominated the game from then in.
Yeah, no, absolutely, but that actually gets them to that closes the gap for them just underneath Shelbourne there, and pulling away from Waterford. And speaking of which, we're actually going to have a look at the league table, Conor. So Shamrock Rovers still 10 points clear despite dropping points on the weekend against Galway. Bows second, 10 points behind them. Third, Derry City on 42 points. Fourth, Drogheda United 42. Fifth, Shelbourne on 39. Pats right up them in 6th on 38. 7th, Waterford on 34. Galway United, a decent draw for them over the weekend. They are on 30 points. 9th, Sligo Rovers dropping more points, and they're slipping ever so farther towards Cork City, who had a decent result on the weekend as well, and they're propping up the table on 19 points, but they're only just 7 points behind them now, so they are slowly making their way towards Sligo. So that is probably going to be more interesting than what happens at the top of the table. Anyway, cup action this weekend. So next week we will be back with, I suppose, a review of how Shamrock Rovers and Pats gone on tomorrow night. But anyway, also we will be live next week. We will have some State of Play coming up, and we'll have another Roar Retro. Those for you on the Roar Plus. And how do you get to Roar Plus, Conor?
This is the link in the description.
The link in the description below. It costs you $4.99 wherever you are. It's a great way to support the channel if you wish to do so. Give us a little bit extra. You give us a bit extra, we give you a bit extra. That's how it works. And if you sign up before the end of August, literally midnight, the 31st of August, you go in with a chance to win a Roma jersey, and we will do the draw live here on our stream. And of course, we're going to have another Lansdowne Roar episode for you coming out later on in the week. That will be with Conor and Martin, where they're going to have a look at the midweek action, see how our boys in green got on over there. So and if you haven't already, please do subscribe to the channel. Please do like the YouTube video, this particular YouTube video. Head over to our Facebook, Instagram, and our Twitter account, and head over to lansdowneroad.ie. That is lansdowneroad.ie for more opinion and also version of this. I mean, if you are listening to this, give us a 5-star review. It really does help. Anyway, I'm David Dunn. He is Conor McAvoy. We're out of here. We'll see you on the next one. Goodbye.